Hey everybody, it's Glenn. This past weekend I went to Memorabilia. It's a big comic and collectibles marketplace held in Birmingham, or as my American friends may say, Birmingham. Birmingham's about 2 hours, never eat shredded wheat, northwest of London. And it's held over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. I went on the Sunday, and with a 2 hour drive ahead of me from London, I woke up pretty early, which wasn't a good thing considering I'd watched UFC on the Saturday night, which, accounting for the time difference, ended about 5 a.m. here in the UK. So I probably wasn't asleep till about 5:30, got up at 9, so 4 hours-ish sleep, and then a couple of hours driving. So by the time I got there, I was so exhausted and disorientated. I basically felt like I dropped acid. And it's held at the NEC in Birmingham, the National Exhibition Centre, and it's a proper big venue. And Memorabilia was probably the smallest event going on at the venue. There was a whole bunch of other stuff. There was some kind of Christmas show where you could buy Christmas decorations, which was huge. A good food show, a supreme cat show, all kinds of nonsense. And like I said, Memorabilia was probably the smallest part of what was happening there. Unlike Comic Con in London a few weeks back that I went to, where as you were heading towards that venue, you saw all the cosplayers and you kind of knew where you were going. At the NEC, I had no idea where I was going, which, as I've said, not helped by my exhaustion. And the fact that around the NEC, it's basically parking lots as far as the eye can see. I'm not sure what it is about leaving London, but as soon as I'm outside the M25, the motorway that orbits London, I just become about 10 times more retarded than I actually am. I may as well be visiting Mars. And so by the time I got in Memorabilia, it was such a relief to be in there. It was such a struggle to find it. And it was pretty good. I've not been to Memorabilia since I was at university about a million years ago. And I have to say it hadn't really changed. It's still a whole lot of tabletop selling. It's basically a glorified car boot sale, but indoors, and with a few random minor characters from Doctor Who signing autographs. I'm going to be sharing my Memorabilia haul with you, but do not get too excited because it's probably the tiniest and most ridiculous haul video you've ever seen. And there were a couple of items that I did try and track down but was unsuccessful. So I shall begin with... Anybody recognise her? It's Marjorie Dawes from Little Britain. If you've not seen Little Britain, it was wildly popular a few years back. It's a show put out by the BBC. I think it went worldwide. You probably could have tracked it down on obscure channels if you weren't living in the UK at the time. But Marjorie Dawes here, she led a kind of Weight Watchers style slimming class called Fat Fighters. And much of the joke was that she was ridiculously fat herself, yet that didn't stop her abusing most of the fat people in her class. I saw this and I asked how much it was, and the guy said £3, and then before I'd said anything he said he'd sell it to me for £2. So for £2 you can't really go wrong, can you? I lose £2 like down the back of the sofa on a daily basis probably, so I snapped her up. She's all mine. My Marjorie. And there was a lot of, well, not even haggling going on at Memorabilia, really. Um, like I said, before I'd said anything, the guy had already kind of reduced the price for me, and I heard that a lot going on. You know, people interested in something, and then the seller would be like, oh, that's £15, but I'll reduce that to you for £10. Whether that's part of the kind of retail psychology to make you think you're getting more of a bargain than you actually are, or whether I was there later on the Sunday and sellers just wanted to get rid of stock so it's less they have to carry back to their van to go back to wherever it was they came from. But getting Marjorie for £2 did give me a bit of a fool's confidence, because I saw a the Walmart 6-inch Loki. The seller had all of the Walmart Captain America and Thor figures, all Walmart exclusives, so you can't get them in shops here in the UK, and he had them all for £20, which is actually pretty reasonable, because recently I had a PayPal gift voucher for £20 and was just looking on eBay what I could buy for that, and I had my eye on a Loki, and it was a Loki that was loose but complete in good condition, and that was £20. So a Loki mint in packet for 20 quid is pretty good, but then I'm not really a mint on card collector, so I'd be opening it anyway, so kind of paying a premium for it being mint on card doesn't kind of make that much sense to me. So I tried to get him to lower the price, so I said to him, can I get a Loki for £15? And he was not having it at all. I guess a bit cheeky, but until you ask, you never know, right? If he'd have kind of met me in the middle somewhere and said, say, £18, I'd have snapped it up. But for him not to budge an inch on it, I was kind of like, well, screw you anyway, mate. So I came away without a Loki. Hopefully at some point one of those eBay sellers in China who curiously list kind of rare legends for decent prices, hopefully one of those guys at some point will have a Loki so I can get my hands on him. I'm kind of more of a budget shopper, and I don't want to be, you know, arse raped with shipping on eBay from the US. I know a lot of sellers in the US try and want to charge you like $50 or something ridiculous. I could like buy a seat on a plane, Virgin Atlantic, and go and buy myself one for the price they charge for shipping, a lot of them. So Loki, alas, was not to be. And then my second item I got is this DVD, Bound. Oh, it's all shiny. If you've not seen Bound, it's a gangster flick with a lesbian twist, and it features Jennifer Tilly playing a lesbian. Like Jennifer Tilly couldn't get any hotter, then she plays a lesbian. Heaven help us. And this is by, I forget their names. Who's it directed by? Can I see on the back here? Anyway, this, I'm pretty sure, is the directorial debut of, yes, the Wachowski brothers, who went on to direct the Matrix trilogy. It's a decent film, worth checking out if you get a chance. It cost me £2.99. These are the only two things I got at Memorabilia. So added together, this haul here was less than £5. Not bad, huh? I did also have my eye on a Master of the Universe Classics Clawful, which is one of the MOTU Classics figures that I missed out on the monthly sales date, and I saw it for £25, which is a pretty decent price. When I order from Matty, they're $20 and then about $9 shipping, and that converts to, I think, just under £20. So 25 quid, it's not extortionate. So I saw Clawful, and for £25, yeah, earlier A different seller was selling Master of the Universe Classics figures for £20. Unfortunately, he didn't have Clawful, so when I saw it for £25, I had my eye on it, but I didn't want to walk another 100 metres and then see it for £20. So at these kind of marketplace events, it's a bit of a gamble. You kind of think you see something you want and it's a decent price, but then I don't want to kick myself because I later see it for cheaper at the same event. Like one guy was selling a Marvel Legends Captain Marvel for £20, which is just ridiculous. And then another seller was selling it for £6, which is, you know, probably the fair price for it. So it does pay to shop around at these events, but then I didn't see a Clawful for any cheaper than £20. Any cheaper than £25, sorry. So when I went back to go and find Clawful, for the life of me I couldn't find it. I must have walked around the entire event about 5 times trying to locate the seller that was selling it for £25, and I just could not find it. It may have been, I may have been hallucinating with the exhaustion. Anyway, Matty are having a sale this coming weekend, so fingers crossed, knock on wood. Clawful will be one of the figures they have on sale. So it's not just a marketplace at Memorabilia. There are a whole host of Z-list celebrities who you can pay ridiculous amounts of money to grab an autographed photograph of them. And largely, I would say, kind of Doctor Who extras, kind of one-time characters were there. Some Star Wars guys were there. Bosk, the bounty hunter, if you remember him from Empire Strikes Back, he was there. Not, of course, that you would recognise him. He could have been anybody sat at the desk, and you can't really, with the level of kind of makeup and costume he wore on the movie, you can't really question, are you really Bosk? I could have sat at the desk and pretended to be Bosk the bounty hunter and raked in 25 quid an autograph. Of course I wouldn't do that because I'm an honest kind of guy. And then there was the obligatory wrestling and robot fighting, which were also at London Comic Con and seemed to be kind of the obligatory thing to have at these events. So I took some of that in. Boxing robots was pretty good. And then they had this huge Jabba the Hutt, I guess almost life size really. And it was amazing, quite a sight to behold. It'd seen a bit better days. I think it had been dragged to a few of these events before and got a bit kind of dirty and messed up, but still was pretty good looking. And it had a certain kind of folk art charm to it. I think it had been made out of paper mache. It's probably, you know, something I would do if I lived in a huge place. I would probably build big, you know, huge paper mache figures as opposed to tiny little 6-inch figures, which kind of fit the scale of this lovely attic that I call home. So, and you could pay to have your photograph taken with Jabba the Hutt, which I resisted, you know, transforming myself into slave girl Leia. I'm none too pretty as it is, let alone in a gold bikini. So I resisted that, but on the table they had these examples of photographs, and I actually wanted those photographs more than I wanted a picture of me with Jabba, just because they were so ridiculous, like pictures of tiny little baby with Jabba the Hutt. I don't know, I just kind of was tempted to make an offer on buying their example photographs, just because they made me laugh. Anyway, that's it really. I just wanted to share my mini haul and the weekend's events with you. Please comment, rate and subscribe. I hope to see you in the next video. I'm going to go cuddle Marjorie and watch Bound. Bye.